Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 15th August 2025. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, please note we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. All the training lessons are already available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. So at our channel homepage, click on the tab Posts. Then you get access to this post. Some of you might be seeing community tab in place of post. In that case, click on the community tab. Even then you get the same post. And this post is having a YouTube playlist link that is having all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into supply demand zone price action course. Here you have all the training lessons are available. To access the first lesson, scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here, starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one, but according to my training instructions provided at our Telegram channel. You can find the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. So join at our Telegram channel. And once you join, in the previous messages or old messages or even in the pinned messages, you can find the training instructions. If you can learn the course according to my training instructions, then it will be helpful to you to become a very good independent trader in the coming days. Please make use of this opportunity. Okay, now I am going to generate different supply demand zone reports with the help of NeoStock Software's supply demand zone top-down analysis strategy builder. Okay, first I'm going to generate finding the stocks near daily and 75 minutes demand and supply zones so that we can identify daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones, and using those high liquidity zones by applying the high liquidity zone strategy you learned in lesson 21.3 video. Okay, starting with the daily time frame, stocks near to the daily demand zone, we got 19 stocks. First, let us identify the high liquidity zones and few more instructions. I am giving very few seconds time for each report, so many times you have to pause the video and you have to identify or you have to study the zones. And second point is, those who don't understand the structure of this report, I request you complete the training lesson 21.1 video. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, now let us identify daily high liquidity demand zones. The first one is Adani Green is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Next, BHEL is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. And then we have Havels having a daily high liquidity demand zone. It is also having a daily high liquidity supply zone. That is the reason why in either side you may get trade opportunities. Next one is Lupin. Lupin is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. And the next one is PPL Pharma is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Next, SAIL is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. SRF is having a daily high liquidity demand zone, and Tata Chemical is also having a daily high liquidity demand zone. So total 9 daily high liquidity demand zones we identified from this list. Okay, next for daily time frame, stocks near to the daily supply zone, we got 3 stocks. Let us look into the daily high liquidity supply zones from this list. Poonawalla is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. Only one stock we identified from this list. Next time frame is 75 minutes. Stocks near to the 75 minutes demand zone, we got 12 stocks. Let us identify 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones from this list. Blue Star is having 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. DMART is having a 75 minutes daily high liquidity demand zone, and this is a pierced supply zone, so you can't consider this. Anybody who would like to use pierced zone strategies that you land in lesson 28, those people can use this 75 minute supply zone as a pierced. Currently stock is moving between these zones, but this is near to the demand zone. Next one is IRB. IRB is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. That's it. We identified 3 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones from this list. Okay, next, for 75 minutes time frame, stocks near to the 75 minutes supply zone, we got 3 stocks. Let us identify 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. Kalyani Jewellers is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We identified only one 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone from this list. So this is about identification of daily and 75 minutes high liquidity demand and supply zones for the high liquidity zone strategy learned in lesson 21.3 video. Okay, next I will generate NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain reports. Starting with NIFTY monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain. Okay, this is a NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain report. In any supply demand zone chain report, always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. Always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. You already learned one time frame higher is ITF and one more time frame higher is HTF. You are aware of those concepts. And also don't forget to pause the video when you are moving from one report to another report, because I am giving you very few seconds time to watch the reports. Okay, next, generating weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. The nearest demand zone for the current closing price is serial number 21. I will place it in the middle of the page. Okay, next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. All are supply zones in this space. I'm scrolling the list down. The nearest demand zone for the current closing price is serial number 34, pierced demand zone. I will place it in the middle of the page. Okay, this is about Nifty supply demand zone chain generation. Next, I will generate Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain, changing the name to Nifty Bank. That is nothing but Bank Nifty. Generating monthly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating a weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. The nearest demand zone to the current closing price is serial number 24. I will place it in the middle of the page. Okay. So this is Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. So we have generated both Nifty and Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain reports. Next, I will generate sideways bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly, daily and hourly income trades. Okay, starting with monthly income trade sideways long trade setup. Entry time frame should be daily and entry zone should be demand zone. And here bullish, bearish or sideways trade setup parameter at entry time frame daily. I am selecting sideways long. Zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score for sideways 11. For bullish or bearish 12 but sideways 11. And third filter, pierced zones I am not setting for daily time frame because any pierced zones we identify. Then we can plan for pierced zone strategy related trades as per the concepts learned in lesson 28. Okay, now both these filters, zone achievement and minimum odd enhancer score will be applied on daily demand zone. Let's filter. We got 6 stocks. Sideways long trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame zones are these daily demand zones. This is a pierced zone. You have to use only pierced zone strategy. This is also pierced zone. So total 6 stocks we identified. Out of 6, 2 are pierced zones. Those you can plan only pierced zone strategies. Okay, next sideways short trade setup for monthly income trade. The changes are daily supply zone. Here sideways short. Now both these filters are applied, zone achievement and minimum odd enhancer score. Now both these filters are applied on daily supply zone. So we got 2 stocks. Sideways short trade setup for monthly income trade and entry zones are daily supply zones. We got 2 stocks. Okay. Next, we will look into bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. The changes are entry time frame, daily demand zone. Here it is a bullish. And third change is minimum odd enhancer score should be 12 for bullish or bearish. Let's filter. We got 22 stocks. So first 18 stocks in the list supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. And entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. So first 18 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. Total 22 stocks are filtered. Entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 22 daily demand zones, some zones might be having more high probability to get success. So we should identify them. So we will identify them based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that you learned in lesson 27. So first let us apply a strategy 22. First we will apply LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, and then later ITF EMA confluence strategy. Okay, I am going back. In the demand zone confluence parameter, in this parameter, I am selecting the filter daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence, because daily is LTF, weekly is ITF in monthly income trade. So by applying this filter on the 22 stocks, we got 16 stocks. In all the 16 stocks, these daily demand zones, these entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. All these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone. That is what we specified here. Demand zone confluence, daily and weekly demand zone confluence. And also we should observe this daily zone is part of the weekly zone, and also the weekly zone is having the trend, uptrend in all the stocks. ITF trend. ITF is bullish trade setup, uptrend. So that's why we can further filter this list based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, because daily demand zone is overlapped with weekly demand zone. So let's go back and apply this one more filter, EMA confluence on weekly time frame. I'm setting a weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. Because the weekly trend is uptrend in all the stocks, let's filter. Now the list is come down to 9 stocks. In these 9 stocks, all these daily demand zones are having a bullish trade setup for monthly income trade with more high probability to get success. Provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. That is very, very important. Otherwise, these zones might be violated. Higher chances. If lesson 20 checklist items are not satisfied, higher chances of zone violation will be there. So that's why always we should not forget lesson 20 checklist items verification is very, very important on bullish and bearish trade setup related stocks. Okay. Next we will look into the next strategy, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence, and then HTF EMA confluence. That is daily, weekly and monthly demand zone confluence, and after that monthly EMA confluence strategy. So I am going back, removing EMA filter, this is because it is ITF specific. Now our focus is on HTF. So first let us filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. So 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, daily and weekly demand zone confluence. Next, daily and monthly demand zone confluence is also enabled. Weekly and monthly demand zone confluence filter is also enabled. By enabling all the 3 filters, daily, weekly and monthly demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with the weekly demand zone, both together again overlapped with monthly demand zone. And monthly trend is uptrend in the first 3 stocks, so ignore the 4th one. In the first 3, if any of the monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence, then the overlapped daily demand zone inside monthly might be having even more high probability to get success. So let's verify. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, I am checking monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence or not. At the same time, trend on the monthly should only be uptrend, not sideways. Uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Let's filter. So one stock is filtered. That way this daily demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. Maybe that is the reason why it is already tested 8 times. Now, is it going to work further? It is all depending on lesson 20 checklist items. If all the lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied, you can plan a trade. Otherwise, there are higher chances zone might be violated. So, this is about monthly income trade bullish trade setup. Similarly, let us generate monthly income trade bearish trade setup stocks. Entry time frame daily, entry zone, supply zone. Here bullish or bearish at daily time frame. I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement is violated, opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. Now, both these filters are applied on daily supply zone for bearish trade setup. So, we got 3 stocks. So, these 3 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for a monthly income trade. Entry time frame zones are daily supply zones. Out of these 3 daily supply zones, there could be some high probability trade setup supported zones might be available. Let us identify them based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies for the supply zone. Okay, first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. LTF is daily and ITF is weekly. So, daily and weekly supply zone confluence filter is enabled, and applying the filter on the 3 stocks, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zone. And also weekly trend is a downtrend in both the stocks, so that we can further filter based on weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. Let's filter. So, one stock is filtered. That way, this daily supply zone might be having more high probability to get success. See, it is already tested 3 times. Is it going to work again next time? It is all depending on lesson 20 checklist items. If all the checklist items are satisfied, you can plan the trade. Otherwise, there are higher chances zone might be violated. Okay, otherwise this is monthly income trade based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence strategy. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. Removing EMA filter because it is ITF specific. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, daily and weekly. Next, daily and monthly supply zone confluence. Weekly and monthly supply zone confluence. By setting all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, all these daily supply zones overlapped with weekly supply zone, both together again overlapped with monthly supply zone. But monthly trend is sideways. Sideways trend, EMA confluence does not give any advantage. So, this is about bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. So, we have completed monthly income trade report generation. Next, we will generate weekly income trade reports. For weekly income trade, entry time frame is 75 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. You're bullish or bearish or sideways at 75 minutes entry time frame. I am selecting sideways long. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 11 for sideways. And third filter also we are adding, that is 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. For that, in the pierced count parameter, at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count is 0. And this pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. Which zone? Because the filter is applied on 75 minutes demand zone. So, 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced because they are the entry time frame zones. So, we got 3 stocks. Sideways long trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zones. Okay, next, sideways short trade setup for weekly income trade, 75 minute supply zone and also sideways short. We got 6 stocks. Sideways short trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame zones are 75 minute supply zones. Okay. Next, bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. The changes are 75 minutes demand zone, here bullish, and minimum odd and enhancer score should be 12. We got 7 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zone. So total we got 7 stocks. Out of these 7, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. So the first strategy is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence and then ITF EMA confluence. Okay, out of these, on these 7, let us apply first LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. LTF is 75 minutes, ITF is daily. So I am enabling the filter. By applying the filter on the 7 stocks, we got 4 stocks. In all these 4 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zone. And also daily trend is uptrend in all the 4 stocks. ITF is daily. So that's why we can further filter this list based on daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. So I'm going back and setting the filter daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. So we got 1 stock. So this daily demand zone might be having more high probability to get success, provided lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, there are higher chances zone might be violated. Okay, next, let us filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence and then HTF EMA confluence. I'm going back, removing ITF EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled. Next, 75 and weekly, daily and weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zone, both together again overlapped with weekly demand zone. But weekly trend is up in only 2 stocks. First one is sideways, we have to ignore that. So in the remaining 2 stocks, any weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence, in that case, the overlapped 75 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. The EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am checking weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence or not. At the same time, trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Let's filter. We got 1 stock. That way, this 75 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success, provided lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, zone might be violated. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, I will generate bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone supply zone, bullish or bearish at 75 minutes. I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. And also the third filter, 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 14 stocks. All these 14 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And the entry time frame zones are 75 minutes supply zones. So total we got 14 75-minute supply zones. Out of these 14 75-minute supply zones, there could be some high probability trade setup zones might be available. We need to filter them based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. So the first strategy is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, and then ITF EMA confluence. So I'm going to apply on these 14 stocks the LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, that is 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. So this is the filter I'm enabling and applying on those 14 stocks. We got 13 stocks. In all the 13 stocks, all these 75-minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zone. 75-minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. And also the daily trend, ITF trend is daily, is a downtrend in all the stocks. So we can further filter this list based on daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. In that case, the overlapped 75-minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. EMA confluence at daily time frame. I'm setting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence or not. Let's verify. We got 10 stocks. So that way these 10 75-minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success, provide lesson 20 checklist items should satisfy. Otherwise, there are higher chances zones might be violated. Okay. Okay, next let us look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks and then HTF EMA confluence. So let's verify. Going back, removing this EMA filter, this is ITF specific, we don't want it. Now let us focus on LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. So 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 75 and daily. Next 75 and weekly, daily and weekly supply zone confluence in all the 3 stocks. With all the 3 filters, with all the 3 filters, we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, these 75-minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zone, both together again overlapped with weekly supply zone. And weekly trend is a downtrend, only 2 stocks. Let's verify out of these 2, any weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. Weekly supply zone with weekly EMA, and also trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It should be downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. So 1 stock is filtered. That way this 75-minute supply zone might be having more high probability to get success, provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise zones might be violated. So this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. So we have completed weekly income trade report generation. Next I will be generating daily income trade reports. For daily income trade, entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish, bearish or sideways trade setup, at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting sideways long. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and hands score 11 for sideways. And also the 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So that's why in the pierced count parameter at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0, because this filter is applied on the 15 minutes demand zone. We will not be getting any pierced zones. Okay, by applying all the filters, we got two stocks. This is a sideways long trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. Okay, next let us look into sideways short trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame 15 minutes supply zone. Here bullish or bearish or sideways. I am selecting sideways short. Let's filter. We got four stocks. That is a bearish trade setup, not bearish. Sideways short trade setup. Sideways short trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. We got four stocks. Okay, next bullish trade setup for daily income trade. The changes are 15 minutes demand zone. Here bullish, and also minimum odd and hands score should be 12. Let's filter. We got 6 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. So total we got 6 stocks. Out of these 6 15 minutes demand zones, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will identify based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that you learned in lesson 27. The first strategy is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, and then ITF EMA confluence. So I am going back and applying filters on these 6 stocks. In the demand zone confluence, I am selecting LTF as 15 minutes, ITF as 75 minutes demand zone confluence. By enabling the filter and applying on the 6 stocks, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. And 75 minutes trend, ITF trend is uptrend in all the stocks. We can further filter based on 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence. So let's apply that filter on these 4 stocks. 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence filter. We did not get any stocks. We don't have any high probability trade setup zones based on this strategy. Okay, next we will look into LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. I removed EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled. Next 15 minutes and daily. 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, 15 minutes, 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. These 15 minutes demand zones overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again overlapped with daily demand zone. And the daily trend, that is HTF trend, is uptrend in only one stock. Let's verify if this stock is having any daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. In that case, the overlapped 15 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify whether if it can get any EMA confluence at daily. That is daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. At the same time, trend on the daily should not be sideways, only uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. So we don't have any high probability. That means in daily income trade, bullish trade setup, we don't have any high probability trade setup. 15 minutes demand zones we did not find. Okay, next let us look into bearish trade setup for daily income trade. The changes are 15 minutes, entry time frame, entry zone, supply zone. Here bullish or bearish at 15 minutes, I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. And also 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, at 15 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. By setting all the filters, we got 10 stocks supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. So total we got 10 15 minute supply zones. Out of these 10-15 minute supply zone, there could be some high probability trade setup zones might be available. The supply zones, 15 minute supply zones. That we will identify based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies you learned in lesson 27. The first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. Let us apply this filter on the 11 stocks. We got 10 stocks. In all the 10 stocks, all these 15 minute supply zones overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. And also 75 minutes trend, that is ITF trend, is downtrend in all the stocks. Let's further filter based on 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. The EMA confluence at 75 minutes, that is 75 minute supply zone with the daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. Now we got 6 stocks. So these 6 15 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success, provide less than 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, there are higher chances of zone violation. Okay, next let us look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks, and then we will filter with HTF EMA confluence. So I am going back, removing this EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. The first filter is already enabled, that is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. Next filter is 15 minutes and daily supply zone confluence, 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. By enabling all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zone, both together again overlapped with daily supply zone. And daily trend is down in only 1 stock. So that's why let us verify this stock, any daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. And also the trend on the daily should not be sideways. It should be downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. So we got that 1 stock. So that way this 15 minute supply zone might be having more high probability to get success, provide less than 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise zone might be violated. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. So we have completed daily income trade report generation. Next we will generate hourly income trade reports. For hourly income trade, sideways long trade setup, entry time frame 5 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. Here bullish or bearish or sideways trade setup parameter at 5 minutes, I'm selecting sideways long. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 11 for sideways. And also the 5 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, at 5 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So this 5 minutes filter is applied on the entry time frame 5 minutes demand zone. So let's filter. We got two stocks supporting sideways long trade setup for hourly income trade, and entry time frame zone is 5 minutes demand zone. Next, sideways short trade setup for hourly income trade. Changes are 5 minutes supply zone and one more sideways short. Let's filter. We got three stocks. Sideways short trade setup for hourly income trade. Entry time frame zones are 5 minutes supply zones. Next, let us look into bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. The changes are 5 minutes demand zone. Here bullish, and the minimum odd enhancer score should be 12 for bullish or bearish. Let's filter. We got 7 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for hourly income trade, and the entry time frame zones are 5 minutes demand zones. So total we got 7 5 minutes demand zones. Out of these 7, how many might be having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. Okay, first filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, that is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence. By applying the filter, we got all 7 stocks. In all the 7 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zone. And 15 minutes trend, ITF trend is uptrend in all the stocks. Let's further filter based on 15 minutes demand zone having 15 minutes EMA confluence. Here 15 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes EMA confluence. 15 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence. We don't have any high probability trade setup zones based on this strategy. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone, demand zone confluence supported stocks. I removed EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled. Next 5 minutes and 75 minutes, 15 minutes and 75 minutes, demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 5 stocks. In all the 5 stocks, these 15 minutes demand, these 5 minutes demand zones overlapped with 15 minutes demand zone. Both together again overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minutes trend is up in only 2 stocks. Let's verify out of these 2, any 75 minutes demand zone might be having daily EMA confluence. That is 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence. At the same time, trend on the 75 minutes should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. So none of these stocks are having high probability. That means we don't have any high probability trade setup zones for hourly income trade, bullish trade setup. That is 5 minutes demand zones. Next, let us look into bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. Entry time frame 5 minutes, entry zone. Supply zone here bullish or bearish. At 5 minutes I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated, opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. And also 5 minutes supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 5 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 5 stocks supporting bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. Entry time frame zones are 5 minutes supply zones. Let's verify out of these 5-minute supply zones, how many are having more high probability to get success. That we will identify based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. So the first strategy is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, and then ITF EMA confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes supply zone confluence. I enabled the filter. By applying the filter, we got all 5 stocks. That means in all the 5 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand. Sorry for the mistake. These 5 minutes supply zones are overlapped with 15 minutes supply zones. That is what supply zone confluence. And a 15 minutes trend is a downtrend in all the stocks, ITF trend. Let's further verify any 15 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. So one stock is filtered. That way this 5 minute supply zone might be having more high probability to get success, provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise zone might be violated. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks, and then HTF EMA confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled. Next 5 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. By enabling all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. In both these stocks, these 5 minute supply zones overlapped with 15 minute supply zone. Both together again overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. But 75 minutes trend is sideways. Sideways trend, EMA confluence does not give any advantage. So we are not further filtering. So this is about hourly income trade, bearish trade setup. So with this we have completed all the income trade reports. Next, let us generate finding the stocks near different demand and supply zones except daily and 75 minutes time frame, because they are already generated in the beginning of the report. Okay, starting with the yearly time frame. Stocks near yearly demand zone, no stocks. Stocks near yearly supply zone also, no stocks. Price closed inside the yearly demand zone, we got 3 stocks. Next, price closed inside the yearly supply zone, no stocks. Next time frame is a half yearly. Stocks near to the half yearly demand zone, no stocks. Stocks near half yearly supply zone, also no stocks. Price closed inside the half yearly demand zone, we got 7 stocks. Next, price closed inside the half yearly supply zone, no, 3 stocks. Next time frame is quarterly. Stocks near quarterly demand zone, we got 2 stocks. Next, stocks near to the quarterly supply zone, we got 1 stock. Next, price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. First 22 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down, total 25 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. At the same time, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways, so that it can be up or down trend we can select. So we got 16 stocks. Okay, next let us look into price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. We got 9 stocks. We can further filter this list based on quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. and trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. We got 3 stocks. Next time frame is monthly. Stocks near to the monthly demand zone, we got 8 stocks. Next, stocks near to the monthly supply zone, we got 6 stocks. Next, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. First 18 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 42 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on quarterly demand zone having monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. And also trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Now the list is reduced. First 19 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 22 stocks are filtered. Okay, next price closed inside the monthly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 23 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence. And also trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. We got 5 stocks. Okay, the next time frame is a weekly. Stocks near to the weekly demand zone, we got 15 stocks. Next, stocks near to the weekly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 19 stocks are filtered. Next, price closed inside the weekly demand zone. First 17 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 51 stocks are filtered. Let us further filter this list based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. And trend on the weekly should not be sideways. Now the list is reduced. First 16 stocks on the list, including Nifty Bank and Nifty Mid Cap Select. Scrolling the list down. So total 23 stocks are filtered. Okay, next price closed inside the weekly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 30 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. And also trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. We got 8 stocks. So this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame daily already generated in the beginning of the report. So the next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near to the 125 minutes demand zone, we got 7 stocks. Okay, next stocks near to the 125 minute supply zone, we got 4 stocks. Next time frame 75 minutes already generated in the beginning of the report. So the next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near to the 25 minutes demand zone, we got 10 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 25 minute supply zone, we got 4 stocks. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near to the 15 minutes demand zone, we got 7 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 15 minute supply zone, we got 4 stocks. Next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near to the 5 minutes demand zone, we got 7 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 5 minute supply zone, we got 10 stocks. So this is about finding the stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. And in the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. So first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I'm scrolling the list down. Whichever the stock you want to refer, there pause the video. After that you can proceed further. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let us all meet again in our next video. Thank you.